Kit Singya, the Deputy Director of the Directorate for Human Resource and Doctrine Development, Senior Superintendent Pal de Leon, siguro kilala niyo si Pal de Leon, the Chief of the Unit Training Program Development. Ba't ka natatawa, Mark? Sabi ko, kilala nyo lang. And Senior Superintendent Sidney Hernia, the Chief of the Firearms Licensing Division. Mauna muna si Sir Kev. Bal? Kamu na Bal?
Sa question na sir mo.
Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat, mga kaibigan natin sa media. Magandang umaga. For today, I will brief you on the DHRDD's accomplishment. This pertains training that we extend to our PNP personnel. So this is my scope of my presentation. To enhance the competency of our personnel, we have introduced the Regional Director and Provincial Director Qualification course. So for the period in review, we have conducted 8 batches for the qualification course, which involves 314 personnel qualified to occupy key positions and hierarchies in the Philippine National Police. For the air-to-ground operations, this is an offshoot of the instruction of no less than the President of the Republic of the Philippines, President Aquino, to conduct an interoperability training between and among the Philippine National Police and Air Force. We have clustered our areas into 15, and it will all be finished by October 12. Last week, we have conducted a conference with the Philippine Air Force, planning to have a joint closing ceremonies for the 15 classes across the country, involving 526 Philippine National Police personnel. The managing on police operations have been conceptualized, including that of the managing patrol operations. It is the printing of this manual is underway. For the seminar on managing patrol operations, we have piloted the seminar in the National Capital Regional Police Office, and which involves 38 chiefs of police in NCRPO, including that of their operations officer, and the 169 PCP commanders, only to standardize and uniformize the patrol plan and the deployment plan of our personnel. This morning, I have attended the EXOS conference, and they are monitoring the downloading of PO1s to our patrol sections as a matter of instruction from no less than our Chief PNP Police Director General Ricardo C. Marquez. On the patrol base for police trainees, we have 63 classes numbering to 3,090 police recruits. Particularly in Region 1, where our Chief PNP was once the Regional Director, they have conducted 3 classes for planners and supervisor training, involving 158 or graduates of 158 personnel. Recently, in August 4 to 13 of this year, we have conducted the 6th batch on the pistol instructor certification course. We now have 198 personnel who graduated for this course. They are authorized to conduct marksmanship training for our PNP personnel. For the period in review, as of this date, we have the 186 foreign training sponsored trainings, involving 2,576 PNP personnel as our beneficiary. And shown on the screen are is the list of courses offered by our foreign counterparts. Last September 17, 29 senior officials from Indonesia, headed by PDDG Shanipar MC, paid courtesy call to the PNP leadership as part of their foreign strategy training in the country. The DHRDD is happy to announce that we have complied with our compliance certification on 3 stages. This morning we are supposed to be awarded with compliance certification, but due to some pressing schedules of our principals, they deferred the awarding of our compliance certification. That ends my briefing for this RDD's portion, and I'm more than welcome to answer your question. Of course, my next principal, Chief Superintendent Kit Singyan, is also here to answer your questions. Thank you and good morning.
Thank you. Question? Third time.
Sir, yung sa Police Operational Manual, ano yun sir? May revision?
Patrol Operations Manual? Wala naman. Because pilot project yung in-introduce natin, we got some inputs from our PCP commanders, operation officers, including our chiefs of police in NCRPO. Isasama natin yon sa revision. We have standardized our patrol plan and deployment plan. This will be cascaded across the country to have a uniform patrol plan for our patrol units as instructed by our DCP.
Sir, kasama din yung paglalakad ng checkpoint?
Yes, but meron tayo, yung patrol plan kasi is anchored on the philosophy of integrated patrol system involving the 3 components. Yung ating fixed component, yung ating mga police stations, yung patrol system itself, and of course yung ating auxiliary component. Hindi po natin kasi mababantayan ang square inch ng ating sinasakupan, kaya meron tayong we involve our force multipliers.
Sir, yung AGOS
Air to ground operations center.
Oo. Ano yun? Bakit may air to ground? Meron ba yung air asset?
This is a seminar being conducted by our Philippine Air Force, yung ating kasamahan sa armed forces, in order to have interoperability with our public safety forces. Para kung kailangan ng ating mga maneuver forces ang air assets, they could communicate effectively. Meaning to say, we are just we equip our people on the ground to have that communication skills and directional skills for our air assets in the Philippines, in AFP.
Not necessarily na magkakaroon ng air asset ng PNP.
Kasama yon sa ating modernization, sa preparation na rin ito.
Sir, doon sa patrol operations manual, kasama ba din yung outline ng Bansiwan?
Patrol operations manual is we recognize as the backbone of policing. At ito ay nagpapatibay ng ating managing police operations. Ito yung ating lambat sibat. So one of the vital component of our lambat sibat is the patrol operations. Na tanong ng ating kasamaan kanina kung ano yung relationship nito. Of course, yung mga checkpoint, yung pagkakandak ng checkpoint, ganun. So siya yung it enhance the lambat sibat.
Sir, for example ng standard, sabi niyo gagawin yung standardized na sa lahat. Ano yung standard? Ano ba sa checkpoint?
I would like to overemphasize the interplay of our quad functions, no? So, bago ka mag-deploy ng ating mga kapulisan o yung ating mga patrol units, kailangan may pre-conference meeting, ano? In order for them to understand why they have to cover such area, probably because of some intelligence report, probably we have to enhance our engagement with our stakeholders.
Sir, kanina binanggit ni SILG na in 24 years, kayo lang magkakaroon ng manual. Ito po ba yung ginagawa niyo? Ano po naging problema natin? Bakit hindi po?
We have been trying to introduce good programs. We recognize the framers of our policies in the past. Napakaganda po lahat. But at times, baka nakalimutan natin yung basics. That's why we are trying to, again, go back to the basics para sa ganun ay ating mga kapulisan ay maintindihan nila that the patrolling is the basic of policing. This is also a study of our Chief PNP. Nung siya pa lang ay nasa DIDM, napaka-importante ang patrolling sa solution ng crime. At nung siya naman ay nag-regional director, he piloted this in one of the city stations in Region 1, particularly San Carlos City, Pangasinan. At nung siya naman ay nag-director for Directorate for Operations, he proved it by taking the lead role, especially in the conduct of World Economic Forum, Asianopol, the visit of Pope, and now the incoming APEC.
So sir, are you saying na dati hindi nabigyan ng pansin para magkaroon po ng manual at maayos siya na? Parang si Chief PNP ang parang make it possible.
You want my Deputy Director to answer you?
Well, unang-una sa lahat, magandang umaga sa inyo dito. At this is a very opportune time na we will be able to convey to you yung mga accomplishments ng Directorate for Human Resource and Doctrine Development. Regarding your question, yung DPMP has been concentrating only on letter of instructions. So that's why it is only now that the PNP has come out with a manual for patrol operations. So through our Chief PNP, the Police Director General Ricardo C. Marquez, as the saying goes, sabi nga, patrolling is the backbone of policing. So, walang policing pag walang patrolling. So, kailangan, even in other countries, international police, yung patrolling, meron na, ito yung pinaka-basic nila. So, dito sa Philippines, sa ating bansa, we would like to have also patrolling as our basic activities in the police organization.
Bakit natin siya na-miss for the past 24 years? Well, in fact, we're saying it's a backbone, basic of policing, sir. How come we missed it in the past 24 years?
Of course, we all know that the PNP came from the military organization. So, nagkaroon ng paradigm shift. So, that's why it's only now that we're going and pursuing yung mga police functions natin talaga. To include our reorganization, no? That's why we have a proposed bill for the reorganization and modernization of the PNP. So, in this way, we are now shifting from the military setup to the police setup.
Sir, yung manual, kailan target na makascade na sa lahat?
In fact, this is ongoing, and I believe through our conduct of the training of trainers, by the next month we will be conducting a training of trainers. Gusto namin sabay-sabay yung makascade at itong ating patrol operations.
Within the year naman yan, sir?
Within this year, yes. Maaring matapos natin yung training of trainers. Then at the same time, we will have a mobile training team to complement the cascading of these patrol operations. And we're hoping also, ewan ko kung mayroong mga ibang directorates na ilalagay sa website so that the other PNP units can surf the internet at makita kung ano itong manual na to.
So, sir, ano matutulong yan sa mga operations ng PNP all over the country?
Ito is only a guide, no? Guide only. Kailangan gumamit din pwede silang gumamit ng ibang paraan kung nakikita nila na maganda yung mas maganda kasi it depends on the situation, no? Sa areas. Of course, there are peculiarity in other areas and other regions and other provinces to include yung mga customs and traditions na dapat i-consider din ng mga kapulisan.
Pero so far, sir, hindi pa tapos yung training of trainers. So, ibig sabihin, meron bang excuse yung iba na to go back to basics?
Initially, yung ni-report ni Colonel Police Senior Superintendent Val de Leon na we had just conducted training for the NCRPO as our pilot area. So eventually, we will now cascade it throughout the nation through our PROs. So that's why we will be conducting the training of trainers.
Meron tayong patrol plan 2030. Nagbabakol yata tayo kung babalik tayo sa basic na
iba yung PNP Patrol Plan 2030. That is our transformation roadmap, no? Para ma-attain natin the PNP will be highly capable, effective and credible police organization by 2030. So kasama na rito yung working in partnership with the responsive community so that we will be able to have a safer place to live, work and do business.
Sir, can you discuss to us yung highlights na ano ba yung expect natin with this patrol doctrine ng PNP? Ano po ba mag-establish natin at anong gusto natin basics na sinasabi po ninyo?
Maraming salamat sa katanungan mo. As I overemphasize the interplay of our quad functions, we have to employ our people. Kulang na kulang po ating kapulisan, so we have to employ them effectively and efficiently. It should be intelligence driven. No? Ang ibig ko sabihin, i-cover natin yung area where crimes are supposed to happen or likely to happen. Of course, yung ating sa investigation portion, we have to study our statistics. Yung statistics natin, kailangan magkaroon tayo ng pagsusuri where crimes are dominant, especially on the crime clock. Titingnan po natin yung mga oras na umaatake po ang ating kawatan sa lansangan. Also, yung operations component, kailangan po systematic ang pagde-deploy ng ating mga tauhan. And lastly, yung ating force multiplier. Pag ikaw ay nagpatrol sa isang area, na pag-alis mo, parang wala na ring police. So we have to enhance our engagement with the community. Na pag ikaw ay dumaan sa isang area, you have to engage our community. Para sa ganun, pag-alis mo, nandun pa rin yung anino mo. Meron kang informante na magre-report sa iyo kung meron mga pangyayaring hindi maganda sa lugar na yon. Bear in mind that our ratio is far from what is supposed to be, which is an ideal. We recognize it as 1:500. Medyo malayo po yun. So, kailangan nating i-engage yung ating mga auxiliary forces in the streets.
Paano nyo o naka-decide na ba kayo ng program na ma-encourage yung mga ordinaryong police na sundin yung ganitong program? In as much as sinasabi nyo na nga o yung kultura ng police na sa totoo lang ayaw magpatrolya, paano nyo babaguhin with this kind of program?
Sa recruitment po, no? We are inculcating into the minds of our applicants yung mindset nila na pag sila po ay pumasok sa police, they have to recognize that the basics of policing is patrolling. Yan po ay nagugat na nung si ating Chief PNP ay nag-aral doon sa mga activities ng other jurisdictions, na even those our personnel in the PNP na nagkaroon ng opportunity to serve the United Nations, even superintendents goes out of their camp just to patrol. Because sabi po ng ating mahal na pinuno, sabi niya, tell me a better idea other than patrolling, I am more than willing to throw this manual out of the window. Kaya gusto ko pong ipabatid sa ating mga kasamahan sa media na we are now embracing that concept. And kahit naman po saan sa parte ng mundo na ito, na ang patrolling ay isang trabaho ng isang pulis. Ibalik ko lamang po, ipinapaabot po sa ating recruitment, na they have to have that mindset of patrolling. In fact, on the training component, meron po tayo doon yung mga field training programs na ini-introduce po na.
Sir, pula, maaaring may calculate sa basic o yung mga bago. Yung na po sir, yung ngayon, yung existing na, police na, ayaw lumabas ng receipt.
Meron po tayong mga mechanism para sa transition na ito, Kaya, of course, doon sa ating programa, sa ating pulisiya, ang isang PO1 o PO2 bago po siya magkaroon ng opportunity to undergo the junior leadership course, he must have to undergo 2,080 patrolling hours. Yan po ay nakasaad sa ating pulisiya at yung implementation nito ay kailangan maigting ang ating monitoring dito. In fact, ang training service are now recalling some of the police officers who are now on training na hindi nako-comply o nasa-satisfy yung mga basic requirements.
PO1 lang yan, sir?
PO2 po.
So iba yung requirements of PO1?
Pareho lang po ang requirements.
2,080 sila? Or
It's a requirement prior to go to schooling sa junior leadership course.
Sir, with the manual, parang mababawasan na ba yung mga nakikita natin? Kasi marami rin ako nakikita mga patroller parang nakatambay lang, wala naman talagang ginagawa. Kasi sabi mo parang magiging mas strategic yung placement ng mga patrol, natin, diba?
Corrective measures are being undertaken by the Directorate for Operations kasi yung po ang kanilang mandato, yung deployment of forces.
May sir, nakalagay ba dun sa manual yung parang liability naman ng patrol if ever hindi niya masunod yung iba sa mga?
Nagpalabas po ang ating CMC, ang ating Directorate for Operations, at kaukulang punishment will be afforded to even commanders who refuse to adhere with our policies.
Sir, di ba isa sa mga basic ng pag-patrol yung nangyari parang body system? Right now ba mababago yun sa manual yun o
yung patrolling system natin, nandun pa rin yung body system. At ang isang component na pinapairal talaga rito ay yung community engagement. Kaya kasama namin sa pagpupulong kanina ang Directorate for Community Relations para sa ganon magkaroon ng interplay yung sinasabi kong mga directorates. Doon sa punishment na inimpose dito, yung commander muna ang pag-explainin kasi meron na po kaming direktiba para sa ganon we are pushing more people on the streets, ika nga ng ating Chief PNP, kaya kailangan na makita niya yung difference nito. Natapos po yung ating pilot project, yun lamang po ay sa pagpaplano. At sumunod na rin po ang ating Directorate for Operations para sa ganon kung saan yung mga areas. Sumunod na rin po ang ating Directorate for Personnel. Pinababa na po lahat ng ating mga PO1s and PO2s na nandito po sa higher headquarters. Sumunod na rin po ang Directorate for Plans upang sa ganon pagtibayin ang pag-organize ng ating patrol section.
Okay, thank you.
Maraming salamat po sa inyo lahat. Thank you.
Meron pa tayong isang speaker, the Chief of the Firearms and Licensing Division of the Firearms and Explosives Office, Senior Superintendent Sydney Ernia. Sydney?
Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. My chief of the chief of the Firearms and Explosives Office is now attending the budget hearing at the Senate, so I was tasked to represent him in this press conference. Please allow me to present a short briefing regarding the unit accomplishment of the Firearms and Explosives Office. This is only about, I think, 8 slides. So, but if you would like to have this presentation be, should I say, no need to present this, it's okay for me. So, it's up to our friends from the media if you want me to present this, or we go straight to the open forum. You want to present me? Okay. So let me start. So my presentation will be following this sequence. First, I'll be presenting the significant accomplishments, followed by the programs and projects, our best practices at the Firearms and Explosives Office, and then the last part of this presentation is the updates on issues and concerns. As of September 22, we have a total of 95,533 approved license to own and possess firearms. And 224,632 are the firearms licenses which have been renewed or re-registered. Next slide is I'd like to emphasize again that we have established 3 satellite offices, one in Davao, one in Cebu, and one in Marikina. This is the second time that I would like to present this because there are so many license holders who flock here in national headquarters just to renew or apply for LTAP. But in fact, there are 3 satellite offices wherein they can have the LTAP issued. These satellite offices in Davao, Cebu, and Marikina are actually just like a mini FEO. You can get your license, you can apply. The procedure is almost the same, just like here in Camp Crame. Now, aside from these 3 satellite offices, I'd like to inform you that even the regional offices, from Region 1 to Region 13, ARM, National Capital Region, including the Cordillera, they have these so-called FESAGs. If you're a license holder, you can proceed to these regional offices and apply for your LTAP. Actually, the process of application for LTAP has long been decentralized. So I'd like to emphasize this. It has been decentralized. So no need for them to come to Camp Crame, go to FEO, and have their license processed. They can go to these satellite offices, they can go to these regional offices for them to acquire or obtain the license to own and possess firearms. Now, on our programs and projects, just recently, the Chief PNP has signed a MOA with Land Bank of the Philippines that was on August 17, 2015. So this MOA is about the online collection and electronic payment portal for LTAP and firearms registration. So if you apply for an LTAP, once it is approved, you will receive a short or a text message or SMS stating therein in the SMS that your LTAP has been approved and the amount that you have to pay at any land bank in any part of the country. So that's the online collection facility that we are using now in a partnership with Land Bank. Now the full implementation of this is expected to be, according to the MOA, it will be on the second week of October. But as of now, it is already being implemented. There are some, of course, refinements that has to be done. So we expect the full and refined implementation of this by October 2015. Now on the updates on the revision of the implementing rules and revised implementing rules and regulations of Republic Act 10591, the technical working group, which was chaired by the Deputy Chief for Operations, has been completed, and it is now being coursed through the command group. But it is now again subject to some more refinements. No? There were some provisions that have to be reviewed. That's why our latest information is that the IRR has to go through a thorough review. We're not hurrying the approval of this IRR. You know, it's the issue before was the IRR was not, should I say, there are some provisions that you know, it's very hard for the stakeholders, you know, to follow, and even the FEO is quite at a loss in some provisions how to implement it. So that's why we have some revisions, and this revision, which has been finished at the level of the technical working group, is now undergoing a thorough review. So it's not yet approved by the Chief PNP, so we will just wait for the formal announcement when this IRR is already approved by the Chief PNP. On the implementation of the final general amnesty, so we have received a lot of questions about this implementation of the final general amnesty. Last month, we have announced our tentative schedule of the implementation of the final general amnesty, and that was the end of the third quarter. That was supposed to be the timelines provided in our proposed plan. However, the amnesty is dependent on the approval of the revised implementing rules and regulation. So while we are waiting for the approval of the revised IRR, we have to wait for the approval of this before we can go on or implement the final general amnesty. So the timelines definitely has been changed from the third quarter to maybe to a later date, and that is of course subject to the approval of the national headquarters. Now there are, of course, I have identified here, or we have identified some issues that was raised, why we have really to have a second look on the implementation of the final general amnesty. Number one is its implementation falls within the election period, that is next year. Secondly, as I have said, the revised implementing rules and regulation is undergoing a thorough review. And number three, of course, we have an APEC this year, so it has the deployment of our troops might affect the implementation of our final general amnesty this later part of the year. And lastly, I'd like to emphasize that we have this new program or practice that is being done now at the Firearms and Explosives Office, and this is the online verification of firearms. This is an aid for our operating units. If you're assigned somewhere in Mindanao, it's very difficult for an investigator or for the chief of police to check if the firearm is registered or not. So using this technique through Gmail, actually we call this Gmail, you can send through Gmail your verification. You just state the circumstances and we will reply through email the query of our operating units. Aside from Gmail, we are also using a number, smart, I think this talk and text. I'm not sure, I'm not very well versed. If this Globe Smart, but this is the hotline number that we are using. So if the operating unit would like to know if the firearm is a registered firearm or not, they can send through text or through SMS to 0918-230-1132. We have a 24/7 duty personnel who will act on your on the request of our operating units. 0908-230-1132. If you will notice in this slide, we are receiving thousands of firearms verification monthly. For the first quarter, we have 1,441, and all of these firearms verification were acted by our duty personnel. For second quarter, we have a request of, I'm sorry for the clerical error. No? Actually, it's more than 2,600 verification requests. So 2,054 has been acted by our duty personnel. So that's how voluminous the number of verifications sent to our office by our operating units.
Sir, yung online verification, ay 24 hours?
Yes, it is 24/7. Even during night time, you can send through text. Our operating units are operating 24/7. Our policemen on the ground are working 24/7, so we have to open this our facility 24/7.
And this is open to the public or only for operating?
This is only for operating units.
Paano nyo mag-check, sir?
Well, for the Gmail, we have registered the official email addresses of all police stations nationwide, including the National Support Units and National Operating Units. Now, for the SMS, well, we are not 100% sure that all those who are texting us are PNP personnel, because there are so many changes in cell phone numbers. All police stations actually have cell phone numbers in our directory, but of course there are changes. Some police stations, they change their numbers, so sometimes they use another number. So as a measure to not to release information to unauthorized personnel, we normally ask the person asking for an information whether the firearm is registered or unregistered by texting the full name and other circumstances of the requesting party.
Sir, going back dun sir sa IRR,
Yes.
sir, how long have we been reviewing that, sir? And do we have a rough estimate kung kailan sir yung ilalabas? So, because I understand the private sector is waiting for it because potentially market moving siya, sir, and then it affects their sales.
Yes. Well, it has been more than 3 months that we've been doing this in consultation with all the almost all stakeholders. And as I have said, the final draft has been finalized by the technical working group. The technical working group was headed by the TDCO, So it is now being coursed through the office of the command group and the chief PNP. So, but along the way, I think there were some provisions that needs to be further reviewed. So we have to wait until this is finalized. Well, as of now, there are so many issues actually. But one issue is about the conversion of firearm. If you will notice, if you read the law, what is being allowed for ordinary civilians is small arm. Okay. Now, if you want to buy a light weapon, light or class A light weapon, these are weapons that are automatic. Okay, automatic. Now, you cannot buy this firearm if you're just an ordinary civilian because it is considered class A light weapon. What we are allowed, or what are allowed for us, ordinary civilians, are small arms. Those are semi-automatic weapons. So this one issue, how to convert this one and make it a permanent semi-automatic rifles, for example. So if this is already converted into a semi-automatic, then it is considered as or classified as a small arm, and it can be bought or it can be possessed by ordinary civilians.
So while the IRR is under the existing IRR, is still being implemented?
Yes. It is still effective. The old IRR is still effective.
So in terms of streamlining the process of filing or acquiring an helicopter, can you say na mas mabilis na ngayon yung processing? May nabawas ba or may...
There were supplemental options that that were released during the time of then OIC Police Deputy Director General Espina. And one of those options was, or actually it is being implemented now, is no need for the licensee or for the applicant to get an RTC or MTC clearance. Instead of those clearances, an applicant can apply for an NBI clearance in lieu of the RTC and MTC. Now, RTC and MTC, from feedbacks, it's very difficult to get RTC and MTC. That's why it was approved within OIC to use instead NBI clearance. And then, of course, instead of the birth certificate, you can submit passport, and if you are a dual citizen, you can submit the certification from BID that regarding your citizenship.
Sir,
Yes.
sa mga issues na pinresent naman, issues regarding FEGA,
Yes.
so most likely or unlikely na it will happen this year or early next year?
As I have said, the timeline is supposed to be end of third quarter. But because of those issues that I enumerated earlier, definitely the timelines have to be changed.
So most likely after election.
Now, as of now, I cannot tell you categorically whether it will push to this year or next year. But we will announce immediately once we get the approval of the GPM.
Sir, yung on-time verification para sa mga operating units?
Yes, for the operating units.
Paano sila makakapag-verify? Ano yung itatay nila?
Well, it's just sending an ordinary text. Just take the name and then send the serial number of the firearm, and then the duty officer will reply to the sender.
But why is it coming ng ordinary?
Well, it's just the firearm. We are not talking here of the name of the person. You just send through text the serial number of the firearm, and then we will reply through text that serial number is a registered firearm as far as database of the FEO is concerned. So there is no names involved here.
Sir, when we say na operating unit, may mga indicador.
Yes, yes.
How about yung mga patrol?
Including those patrol personnel. They can send through text.
Pero may discrepancy, parang 2.6 yung request, 2,000 plus na or 2,054 lang yung verification.
Can we go back to the slide, please?
24/7 na.
24/7. Can we go back to the slide, please?
May graphic.
We have I think it was a typographical error. 2.6, yes. 2.6. Yes. Okay. Let me explain why there is a discrepancy in the request acted by our 24/7 personnel. Okay. As far as Gmail is concerned, we require the requesting party to send an e-copy of the spot report. Okay? Spot report. Because through Gmail, actually we are sending through Gmail a document that can be used in the filing of case. So we will not send official document to our operating units if they will not comply with the basic requirement of course, the spot report. And then if they are going to use that verification result in the conduct of police operations, such as search and or search warrant operations, then they have to make or scan a document requesting that this person and these firearms be checked in our database. Yes. So for Gmail, we are strict as far as requirements is concerned. There must be. But for DSMS, because we will not be using that in court, then we are not so strict, because we will just be replying to the sender, text sender, that the firearm is registered or not registered. But of course, that is not admissible in court. What is admissible in court is the hard copy that we will be providing to the operating units.
So that means, sir, that the public may also text you and verify all information.
We will not entertain all requests through text. They have to identify first the name and all other circumstances, including some. Of course, there will be some more questions on the side of the duty personnel, no? To check whether it is a legitimate text message from somebody.
Sir, yung response time,
Well, the text message can be replied immediately. In less than 10 minutes, that can be replied immediately.
So as much as possible, ang sinasabi niyo, sir, is parang talaga sa police yung...
Well, this is for the use of the PNP operating units.
Discouraging the public na sumali. Kasi baka instead na yung text ng isang operating unit sa Mindanao ang papasok, nasasapawan ng mga text ng mga individual.
Yes, that's one problem that we will be encountering. If we are going to open this to the public, can you just imagine the thousands or millions of texts that we will be receiving from the public? This text alone these messages alone came from our operating units, but you can see that it's more than 1,000 already.
Sir, how about kunwari, may spot report na yung complainant, tapos siya yung mag-request for verification? Pwede ba yun? Siya yung mag-scan, tapos send message?
Well, she can course through she can ask, or he can ask the investigator to check for him.
Pero hindi initiative dapat.
Hindi pwedeng siya mismo.
Well, I suggest that it should be the investigator. What's the use of the one who is holding a spot report to check on that?
So looking at the records, ang binanggit nyo ay 95,533 ang approved LTOP.
Yes.
Hindi po masyadong mababa ito considering the millions of pinag-usapan.
Well, we have about between 500,000 to 600,000 licensee. So what we have now is approximately 20% of the total number of target population. So that's only about 20%. That's why it's good that we have a forum like this, so that we can encourage our people, we can encourage our firearm holders to proceed to the different processing centers of FEO, at the regions, at the satellite offices, and here in Camp Crame. The turnout really is only about 20% of the total population of firearm holders.
Okay. May question kasi.
Yes.
Yung classification daw ng LTOP. Yung one LTOP could be good for how many firearms?
Well, we have 5 classifications of LTOP: Type 1, Type 2, Type 3, Type 4, and Type 5. For Type 1 license, it's only good for 2, maximum 2 firearms. Type 2 is 5, Type 3 is 5 to 10, Type 4 is up to 15, and Type 5 is more than 15. So those are the classification of licenses that we are issuing.
Can you give us, are you at liberty to give us any update doon sa case ninyo, Maria Maya? Yung shooting spree na nangyari sa
Pardon me, but I think the case has been filed in court, so I don't intend to discuss that matter anymore. The case has already been filed.
Sir, sa IRR, sir, can we give a time element na sir sa kung kailan siya niya-expect? Is it next year, third quarter, second quarter?
Well, our original plan is to have that this last quarter, right? Now, with the recent development, there will be changes, there will be adjustments. So, as of now, I cannot definitely tell you whether it will be in October, November, December, or after the election. But as far as FEO is concerned, we would like this to be pursued because this is the remedy that we see as far as renewal of licenses of firearm holders that expired in 2013 and below.
So what do you advise, sir, sa mga naghihintay ng FEO?
Well, as of now, they have to wait. But
what to do while waiting?
now, actually, it's provided in the law that if your license is or has already expired, you have to deposit your firearms to the nearest police station. That's the ideal thing that we should do as firearm holder.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Maraming salamat po. Magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat.